Alrighty, so I'm gonna continue what I started this morning. No, I wasn't too happy with how the text was looking on the recorded video, so I tweaked a few settings, and we'll see if it looks a little better this time around. If it doesn't, I'll have to reattempt later after this stream. Hopefully, I fixed a little bit, at least for now. Um, So this morning, where were we at? So we started getting rid of, not that one, UI term. So there was a UI term struct that we tried to start removing here. So we merged UI term with UI since UI term just contained UI anyways. Specifically, it contained a pointer to UI. Because the way it was being used was you would get the pointer to this UI struct, which just had the function pointers. And then anytime you wanted to use it, you would cast it to UI term, which is very ugly because UI term had all this other stuff contained in it. So we started to eliminate that. Now, unfortunately, a bunch of these headers are very, very, very tangled together. So having to like forward declare stuff like struct this so that I can take a pointer to it in the struct while still allowing me to type def it in the vis header where it's defined so that when you take a vis pointer, not a struct vis pointer, but specifically a vis pointer, you can still access the members of vis. So that is why I had to add this stuff like this here. Hopefully I will find a way to just remove these includes altogether. So these are still here. They're just after the UI now. They're just down here. Hopefully I can figure out how to remove those, but for now it's okay. So what we want to start doing is open UI.h and we want to start removing, oops, not pasting random stuff. We want to start removing these functions. So I don't want to store these function pointers anymore on here anymore because first of all, it's just a waste of space. Second of all, it's really ugly. It's also slow because the compiler can't inline any of this, even if it's only being called in a single place in the whole program. So we will start by doing that. And probably a good one to start with is this. So if we open UI_terminal.h or .c, now we go to colors. UI term backend colors. UI term backend colors is a little bit weird, but well, yeah, so this is actually more similar to how I would implement multi-implementation. So we have two terminal backends. We have the curses backend, which links to libcurses, and then we have the VT100 backend, which still links to libcurses because lib term key. Is it lib term key or is it lib? I think it's lib term key requires curses anyways. So that's a bit unfortunate, but the attempt was to have one that didn't require curses. It just hasn't been quite implemented correctly yet. So if we do UI term backend colors, now I'm a little tempted to implement a little bit of a type def thing that I've done before for doing this. However, since only one of these is included at a time, I think I will just leave it as this. but without the defined. So we need to open UI.h, and we need to add UI term backend colors. That's UI curses colors. Just returns this, but that's fine. So it's not going to be static anymore. And we're going to call this UI backend colors. It takes a UI pointer. Why does it take a UI pointer? Let's check UI term VT100. Maybe it doesn't even need to take a UI terminal VT100. Colors. UI VT100. Get term. UI. It takes a UI pointer because this was implemented as if it was a C++ class, where the C++ class, a member of the C++ class would just take a this pointer implicitly, and that's how this UI term pointer is just acting. But clearly this doesn't depend on whatever the UI is, and neither does this other one in curses, so therefore this will no longer be taking a UI pointer, it will just take a void, and it will just return its values. So that also means that this can no longer be called this, it just needs to be called backend colors, and it will take a void, take nothing, and we need to go to this top where there's a bunch of these defines, and we have to delete that. And close that one for now. And I already deleted that. And here we are going to take a void. And this can't be static. And this can't be named this anymore. So that is good. Now we can figure out where those are just being called. So first I need to delete that assignment. And then we can see here. So probably just here, this lua.c 3263. And this is no longer being called this, and it's no longer taking any argument at all. This UI backend colors. That will just return the value it is needed. Good. And that was the only place where that one was being called. So that is good. That is one less thing. Let's add star.c ui.h and get ca. Okay, and now we will do let us do updates next, because I think all do updates does is set this bool do update. So probably only in here do updates. Yes. No. No, we will not be taking that one anymore. No more function for that. So Now anywhere that just calls that needs to be fixed. So oops, this to UI to do update equals to update. And even this function is possibly not needed. So have a look see here. Yeah, so that's also not needed. It's just, it's only called, I don't even know why this is a function. It's only called in this.c with a prototype in the header that's never used. So I'll just delete that. And then delete that. Do updates. This to UI to do update equals true. Do updates. It's not right. Original to this to UI to do update equals false. When to this to UI to update equals true. And that should be all of those. So, oh, interesting. So it seems we broke something when we quit. Just make this quickly. When the message window is open. How can I make that show up in the default binary? Huh. I will fix that after. Let's just continue for now. That is probably related to the events. So there's like a quit event that gets called when this is closing. So it is possible that I need to fix something there, which I will do after. For now, we'll go back to UI. So the do update function is no more. I guess we can just start from the bottom, work up. Term key get. Oops. Term key get returns the term key member, which is kind of what I was expecting. So that's a term key function. Oops. So just delete this. 253, 782. Like it really looks ridiculous when you can just do this. That's when the function pointers really start to make you question what is going on there. Like why exactly was that a function pointer again? Who knows? Who knows? Term key get. Term key get. Oh, see, term key get. Using change, not key. That's okay. Cool. So no more do update, no more term key get. This.h, ui.h. Okay. Terminal restore. Terminal restore. So this is fine. I don't think this term backend restore function needs to be exposed anywhere. See where should this go? Probably with the rest of these. No, really, it should just be called UI term restore. Terminal restore. Not sure about that. UI term for UI term. I'm gonna rename these ones, I think. Do that. Main.c also. Oh yeah. This is a silly warning. 2217. Weird. Let's just delete those while we're at it, because those are just going to get annoying and in the way. So we will just delete both of those members. Whatever, term free. Yeah. Oops, missed something there. You. What did I just change in UI.h? Did I delete the? Oh. Fix that one after. Let's leave that there for now. Just need to make sure that I didn't do something silly here. This was taking UI term free, which I'm going to rename to terminal free, Why was this taking a pointer to something that was already in the header? Good question. Yeah. 643 is gonna fail to link as well because I haven't UI terminal free this to UI. Where's the other one? 1832. Wait, what? Oh, UI terminal restore. Yeah, 1832 UI terminal restore. It's not going to be able to link because it's still called UI term free. So, and UI term new. UI term new. UI terminal new. UI term free should be terminal free. Okay. We go. Little bit tempted to just line that up. I will do that. Or I can do this. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. I will leave that. Terminal save. Yeet. Leave that one. Oops. Good. Add this stuff. Okay. So now firm key. Firm key. Get rid of get key. Get key. Cool. UI get key. Yeah. UI get key. 1203. Did I even have that? No. UI get key. It should be UI terminal get key probably. Whatever. Get key's fine. Actually, really, how this is being checked, it might be better to UI get key and key. Right. I don't know why that returns a bool, but sure, that's fine. Yeah, so I mean, having that be in a different file is a bit annoying, but especially because it's only being called there. But we'll leave that for now. Zoom and suspend and redraw and draw. Yeah, these are all resume. UI term backend resume. UI terminal resume. I think I want this to be called UI terminal resume. And really, this should be UI terminal colors. So UI terminal colors means I have to edit those other ones. And then this is gonna get replaced with UI terminal resume. And this is gonna get deleted. Now we're gonna open UI terminal versus colors, backend colors. I'll rename this to UI terminal colors. And then up here where we've got which is the one we just deleted, resume. UI curses resume. Oops, UI terminal. This is resize. Oops, my bad. Resume. Right. So that does nothing in this case. That is fine. So that can stay here. And then in UI terminal VT100 colors, oops, colors, terminal colors, resume, this one. And then up here, you can delete this thing. Oh, I guess these need to be named the same. Didn't realize there was macros for this. Free, new. UI terminal free. That's a little weird. Oh, right. Yeah, never mind. That still needs to be called backend free and backend. Term backend free. Um, terminal new. Yeah, we can't call this UI backend or UI term backend new. UI term backend free new backend new. Terminal curses. So let's see. UI curses new. UI term backend new. 3263. This is UI terminal colors. Okay, cool. So we got rid of that, got rid of all of these. Um, Good. Oops. So that is a problem. No key input. What did I do? What's this one called right here? Probably should have checked that before I erased that checkpoint. That's okay. Yeah, all this did was return the term key member. So that is not the problem there. This to UI get key. Oh, there we go. If not, instead of if. It's my bad. That should have been if not, UI get key. There we go. That's better. And just for good measures, let's make sure that without curses, everything still compiles. Curses. VT100 curses resume. Terminal VT100.c. VT100 resume. It should be a terminal. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, and without curses, everything still works. That's good. So we can add this. Good. So next function. Why is this? I don't need this here. Resume. I already add the yes. 497. Let me see where this is getting used in a second here. This resume. Yeah, that is not useful. So delete that, delete that. Go to 1313. Oops, right here. Uh, 25. Hello, red zone. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Do need to fix that sig fault, but It's not harming anything right now, so just leave it. Okay. I need to put set my terminal thing back. Okay, make sure I did. Well, I'll check that after. UI.h, this.c, this.h, men. Suspend. UI terminal suspend. Well, I've been using Linux as my only OS probably for roughly like 10 years at this point, so I guess so. I don't really ever feel any so when I so before Proton, I used to have like a virtual machine if I ever wanted to like play any games or something on Windows, but since Proton's come around, that is basically completely unnecessary. Now, since Proton's come around, I also don't really play that many games, but um it doesn't matter, I guess. Terminal suspend. So term backend suspend. So we have to open line there. UI terminal versus suspend versus suspend UI term backend suspend. What is change colors? Okay. Well, so in this we're not really avoiding any libraries. We're using like curses and term key and Lua. So Lua is not really a library because you kind of embed it in your program. So um, it's kind of a library, but it's not really a library. UI terminal. But I would say that like most the people who program primarily in C tend to use less libraries um, than people who program in different languages, I guess. But we still use libraries when they're appropriate. ET100 suspend. ET100 suspend. Curses 298. Term backend suspend. Oops, 638. Didn't delete that line yet. UI terminal suspend this to UI. And this suspend. So in my personal projects, I use SIMD like quite often. in this itself, I don't really know if there's any place where we really need to use SIMD. Yeah, we don't really do any parsing of anything or any like math really at all. Like all the math we do is like very basic. So we're not doing like math on like bulk numbers of or bulk amounts of numbers. But yeah, SIMD, not using SIMD is like very wasteful in my opinion because it's there's like instructions available on the CPU that basically let you operate at 8 times the speed depending on what data type you're using, or more than that depending, right? So it'd be like kind of wasteful not to use them. This is only getting called in main.c. Oops. 1232. So I don't need this function anymore. Would I make a program that only works with AVX 512? Probably not, simply because, well, so first of all, it might not be the case on the most modern CPUs, but it used to be that like AVX 512 was, it had extra latency over like AVX 256, despite the fact that it could operate on more things, so it wasn't really worth using. But probably for other programs, I would include like a check. So if AVX 512 is available, we would use the AVX 512 instructions. Otherwise, we'd just fall back to like the AVX 256 instructions. Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm using Zen 4 right now. But I don't know about like for Intel CPUs or anything. This function can get deleted. This.h1118 temporarily suspend. We don't need to care about this. So okay. Command. Okay. UI.h. I'm gonna delete some more functions. So delete redraw next. UI redraw. That one doesn't need to be called UI terminal redraw because it just redraws the whole thing. So oops. They have it disabled. Interesting. So usually like when I'm using any sort of like AVX instructions, I'll include like a if define blah 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 ABX, whatever. So like sometimes I don't have like data that's like padded properly, and I'll have some like fallback case that handles it when it's not a perfect multiple of um, the register width and the data type size. So usually it's not like that bad to include something like that. Okay, so redraw is gonna call UI term backend clear. Now clear is not being put out on any of these, so that is fine, but I want to delete those this versus clear term backend clear. And then I think that's like a curses function probably. What was this? UI terminal VT100 clear. Term backend clear. It's just stub this one. That's okay. Preemptive multitasking. It depends on like what you mean by that, I guess. I'm definitely not like an expert at high performance programming, so I'm not sure I could just tell you. Uh, 484 UI redraw. Okay. So good. But so why would that be less important now? I don't know. The alternative is a single task or cooperative where you choose when to switch. So it obviously depends on the context, but multitasking made to allow people to share one computer on multi-user systems. Right. Definitely, I don't think that's super relevant nowadays. Um, multi. What I was gonna say though is that it would be nice if you had some more control over, depending on the task, of course, when you know those, when to give up like control to back to the OS. What was I doing? Okay, backend clear is done. Redraw is done. CA. Yeah, so I haven't looked too much into haiku. I know haiku has like some pretty interesting things going on though. Uh, okay, so that member is gone. UI draw this function. So we want this to not be static anymore. UI draw this. UI draw. This would go, okay. Let's put that here actually, just leave it there. Term backend blit. So I want to get rid of that as well. UI terminal curses backend blit versus blit term backend blit. 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 Okay. $4.89. UI draw this UI. Now where is this update being called? Um uh uh interesting. Let's just leave this here for now and just check. This update is only being called in this file here and at 1394. Or sorry, 1314. So that's a bit clear about what was going on there, but it's not H145. Yeah. Lit user interface state this output device. Hello, Terrace. I think you were here before, if I'm not mistaken. Yesterday, probably. So 488. Delete that. This redraw. Really what I want to see is the difference between UI redraw. Nope. Maybe I just styled it better today. I don't know. So UI draw versus UI redraw. I might have to check. Maybe this doesn't need to be separate functions. we're just setting needs update on everything, and then also we're casting something that's already something that's not necessary anymore. Yeah, so don't need to do that anymore. This redraw. Oh, well, that is being taken as a function pointer, so I don't want to mess with that too much right now. But this draw was not needed, so that's fine. Oops. Okay, so that's good. Oops. Uh-huh. It's started. Get CA. Well, v UI.h. Yep. So arrange. So that's not static anymore. It's not a function pointer anymore either. So take this, put it here. We don't really need the names for this because it's clear what it does. Okay. 129. Interesting. That's only being called in here, so let's see where this is getting called. Windows arrange. Oops. X Windows arrange UI change to UI arrange and delete that function. Oh, oops. It was UI. Well, this took a this pointer and then just did this to UI. So I have to go fix all those. That's my bad. $573 UI. UI should have done UI arrange. Okay. UI would be good. Okay. 1651. So what I'm working on right now, if this, let's make sure this is building. Okay, so let's just add this first, and then I will open the diff. So where is the UI.h? So what I'm removing right now is, so previously this structure UI was just a table of function pointers. And its first member, or sorry, it was just a table of function pointers, and there existed a UI term, which was not defined in this file. UI term, be like way up here somewhere. Yeah, so UI term had as its first member this that UI structure, so that table of function pointers. So now generic UI interface has to be the first member. So originally, everywhere where this you wanted the UI, like the variables from the UI, all you got was a pointer to those function pointers, and you couldn't get access to any of these members from anywhere else in the file besides writing like a like a get set function everywhere. And also everywhere where we would use uh, this UI pointer, where you had to have to do like these casts. So this is like a thing that's allowed in C. Um, you mean like static functions as like a member of a class? So this is all written in C, right? This isn't written in C++. It was written in a style that's very reminiscent of C++. Um, so yeah, so if this first member of this term is a UI, um, yeah, so like that will work if you have like a single translation unit. But this has like a ton of code, right? So we can't just have like, I mean, I would prefer if it would still compile as a single translation unit, but right now it doesn't compile as a single translation unit. There's like many files. Um, so we have to split it up into like separate functions with, or sorry, separate files with like headers for the time being. Now, yeah, so the reason this stuff existed though was to hide these members, which um, kind of doesn't make any sense. So that's what a header is doing, right? So if you just have it defined in a header, that is like equivalent as external. Um, yeah. So you can't define something as static and external though, right? So it can either be static or it can be external. Static in C just means that it's limited to the same translation unit. External means that it's going to be used from different translation units. Oh, yeah. So I would prefer if most of this stuff was statically allocated. Right now, it has to be dynamically allocated because all of these structures were opaque. So the only place this structure with stuff was visible was in this file. So you have to pass around pointers to it. So you could have like a global, you could define it like statically globally and then just pass a pointer around that way, which honestly isn't that bad. Now, certain ones need to be there needs to be multiple versions of it. Um, there doesn't need to be multiple versions of like this UI term struct though. So yeah, you're right that like this one could just be a single global thing that doesn't need to be um, dynamically allocated. Um, I might look into that after I kind of unwrap all these mess of like function pointers that are like all tangled together in like a really hard to debug way. It's mostly about the variables themselves. So the data here is going to be entirely limited to like a single function, but um, view.h or actually in u dot here. So this UI window data. So this is one window. If I open another file, it's another window. So these need to have separate. These need to have their own data, right? So this bottom window has a width and height. This top window has a different width and height. Um, the sidebar width might be different between the two windows, etc. So these ones, there needs to be multiple versions of this. There can't just be a single one. Um, but for this struct UI represents the whole UI, so you only need one version of this whole thing. Um, and you definitely don't need function pointers because there's only one version of all of these functions. There's not like multiple versions of these functions. And even if there was multiple versions, they wouldn't be getting changed at runtime. They're only changed, or sorry, they're only ever used. Only a single one of them is ever used. So it should just be linked like you would normally link files as opposed to using a function pointer. So where were we at here? So that's good. So we can move on to the next one. Well, I'll still be here. I'll still be here, don't worry. So I'll be sticking around for a little bit more. Info hide, so we will get rid of that function next. Info hide. Here, info hide. One of those. Sort this again. Info hide. Who is referring to that one? Just this prompt.c. Oops. This info hide. Who is calling this one? Only this is calling that one, so that can just get deleted from this thing. So this.c 1193 UI info hide this to UI. Close that. Open this.h 207. Yeah, don't need that. And then don't need this function. Well, actually, I'm going to pause for a second and use the washroom. Okay. So this info hide is now gone. Should fix that save fault, but I will do that after. Star.c this.h ui.h. Okay. So x info show. Oh, this is gross. Why is this having app? No. So no, this is not. Oh, what is the situation where you can change a function pointer at runtime? Um, so let me think. So sometimes you have like a library where you want to like the only thing I'm thinking of right now, which I've done before, is you might have like a message library, and maybe you can accept messages over like a Unix file descriptor or over um, like a serial. Yeah, this is a bad example because on Linux you can just open anything as like a file descriptor and read from it the same way you'd read from anything else. Um, but like let's say you have multiple ways of just communicating. So maybe on Windows you have your messaging library, so it can accept messages over a file or it can read messages over the network. I don't think you can have a shared file or network sort of interface in Windows. So maybe um, your program wants to just use the same interface for both of those. So then maybe you define like some uh, message stream. Um, let's say you have like some message stream type, and then yeah, so you could load this, but so you could load like a different DLL. But in this case, if you have like some function, I don't know, let's say it returns a size t pointer read, and read takes like I don't know, a character pointer, like a buffer, and a size, and um, a message. Well, it takes um, I'll just call it like a device pointer, so some sort of device. Um, then you could have it could be like a void pointer device, and then maybe here you have a device in this message stream. Um, you could like create this for you could set this device to like a variety of different devices, and then you have a read function that accepts only whatever this device is, and then you can read from it. Now you could have multiple versions of this in the same program, where you have one version that has one version of read, and then you have another version that has, or you have another instance that has a different version of read. Um, and then in both cases, you'd have like different devices. So that's like one case where you might want to do that. Um, yeah. And then yeah, there is like the function on Windows called get proc address, which takes like a DLL and lets you load any function out of that file. And then you could take that function and assign it to like some function pointer that you're going to use elsewhere. What did I do here? Okay. UI terminal.c 644. What's that called? UI info. UI like. TUI to info. I'm going to rename this to info show because it is a bit more explicit that way. So UI info show, UI message, yay, list. So I'll keep this function around because it does it's the variodic function that takes the variodic arguments and then turns it into an axis pointer. Well, actually, I should see how many places are calling this before I just say that, because if it's only a couple, then I'll just change UI info show to take the periodic arguments. No, so I'm not going to change that. Even though hardly any of these are actually taking, most of these are just printing a single message, which is fine. But that's fine. That's good. Good. Good die. This definitely doesn't need to be a separate function. UI die. Yes, exactly. You can do that. However, there's like the limitation that the function prototype all has to be the same. So you can't have all of like the read functions in my example there would all have to have the same prototype. You can't have like a version that has a different prototype. Besides void pointer. So if you have a void pointer, you can cast the prototype to take something that's not a void pointer and it will work, but yeah, that can be like a little ugly. UI die. Attribute, no return. Prefer this to be in the header where it belongs, not here. So do this, get rid of this attribute here. UI message VA list. Well, I'm not sure how many places are just calling that, but we will see here. That is very nice. There's two versions of exactly the same function. Um, yeah, this is exactly the same function. Um, so what's calling this die? I don't want to get rid of this die, but UI die message is possibly just going to be deleted. Surprisingly, this isn't marked. There's no return. It doesn't need to be. Neither does this. Just one of the functions in the chain needs to be marked as no return. The compiler can figure out the rest. UI die message. Okay, well, that's this doesn't have this, so I'm not gonna mess with that for now. Okay. UI.h. Getting there. Almost done deleting all of these. Windows swap. Okay, so wrong here. Interesting. That's probably fine though. Okay, next. Probably need some water. Window focus. this to UI window focus. Focus. Weird. What is going on here? For who knows what's going on here, to be honest. This is a little, we're taking the vis pointer off of the window, and then we're taking the window pointer in that same vis pointer and assigning it to window. I guess it's like, because window's like a linked list. Yeah. Good. Four more functions to delete. And then we will have a nice, much nicer, much cleaner interface, I guess. It won't be so difficult to modify stuff. Delete that. We don't need to be casting this anymore. Wait. How is this even working? Oh, sorry, term to Windows. Oh yeah, term to Windows is already the, yeah. So I don't need this cast anymore. I don't know why it's still there. Good. So next, window new. Window new. UI win pointer window new. So take this. Term UI win and an options, and it makes a new window out of it. Sure. So window new, good. Win to UI to, so it should be, oops, this to U, no, the UI window new, this to UI win options. Good. And ones again. Two more. resize. UI resize. That. And we're gonna have a nice thing to just delete here after, which is nice. Okay. UI resize. Good. Same usual suspects. And last one, last function pointer. UI dot UI terminal dot C UI. So we can delete all of this, and we can delete this line, which doesn't do anything, and we can return TUI. Good. $36.15. And then that's probably an event basic as well. Yep. Good. Nice, nice, nice. So nice. Okay, so that is 130 lines of deletion. Let's do a make test. So I install the Vim and stuff this finally, so I can run these tests properly. I skipped the Lua tests because I know one of them is broken. And frankly, we didn't change anything in the Lua interface, so it should be okay. This is going to take a while probably, but we will see. Didn't take too long. And after that, I will quickly try to fix that bug with the events that I just introduced. Sure, it's right near the end of the. Sure, it was right from the event stuff right at the start, and I just didn't notice it. But we will see. Good. Didn't really expect any of those to be broken, but that is expected. So let us, I need to be able to do a make a debug first. And let's go to this. Let's just add a quick lua.c. This lua standard.lua. Oh, it's gonna temporarily add a mapping space I. Sorry. This dot modes dot normal space I function and this message I. Space I. So the message window showed up, and then if we do this, we're not going to get a sig fault. Interesting. Space I, open vis.h, close that, close this. Weird. I'll have to debug my own version. So apparently this version does not have the sig fault. Maybe it's the curses. So the version I have compiled doesn't have curses enabled. Let's try it without curses. Okay, there's a few functions we missed, so that's actually good. Well, actually, there's a few things in there I want to delete anyways, so that is fine. We will do this. So, check what those actually were. So UI VT100 suspend and so suspend specifically. Suspend. Turn back and suspend. VT100 suspend. This should be turn back and suspend. Okay. And then so these ones I'd like to delete as well. Let's fix that. Oops. So VT100 init can still remain static, but VT100 resize term backend resize and restore as well, and save as well. Those can be gone. Versus init term backend init versus resize and restore. And versus save. So now UI term Weird. If those are not being called anywhere. Don't know why that's not an error. Oh well. This dot C. And also F1 versus support. No. So close that. I close this. Weird. So I can't get that save fault on my build, which is very interesting. So I guess I'm just gonna leave that as is then, because I'm not sure. We will do another quick rebuild of my thing here. Git add. Oops. And we'll check out that one. That. So yeah, total 140 lines of code deleted. And let's do a little check here of how much wanting to make it without. Make sure this is a fair comparison. So curses needs to be enabled. It also check that it compiles without Lua. So let's do that first. Okay, so that's all still working without Lua. Good. Lua. This master. So there we go. Almost 10K. 10K binary data just deleted, and all I've done is deleted a bunch of function pointers, basically. Changed a bunch of function pointers to actual functions and removed a lot of getters and setters that were needed for because those structures were opaque. Hello, Zayon. Imagine how much it would cost. How much what would cost? Yeah, there's a bunch of deleted code, which is always good. Now, is there still function pointers in the UI, or have we deleted all of them? Looks to me like the UI no longer has any function pointers, so that is good. So I've been like deleting I've been deleting abstractions actually, and we do a diff stat with master, we can see how many lines of code there were because of the abstractions. So far I've deleted 441 lines of code that were just related to a bunch of abstraction that was not really serving much purpose. So yeah. And then also this probably runs faster because there's no more like function pointer to references and stuff. Everything can be properly optimized. So that's nice. But I don't really have a metric to just measure how fast it runs. So I'm gonna, yeah, okay. So what next? What I'd kind of like to do is get rid of some of this tangled header mess, but I'm not sure if I can just do that. Get rid of that. Yeah. Included from. That shouldn't be getting made anymore. Oh, sorry, it's just being included. Right. I don't think it's going to be so simple to remove those header wrapping around everything. So UI win to UI. Not entirely sure that that is a necessary member to just have on this thing. UI which manages this window. Well, there's only one UI, so we could try to delete this. Or maybe more importantly, delete this. If I delete this, I can get rid of this for declaration of this struct. So because there's only one editor instance, there's not multiple editor instances. So we can see what that does for us. So 587, that is not necessary because there is only one vis instance. 347. This event emit. Event emit. That kind of needs to take the vis pointer. So otherwise it can't do anything. So it needs a vis pointer. But UI draw, where is that being called from? Because potentially that can just pass the vis pointer along when it's being called. So none of these ones. UI terminal. None of this, not this, not this vis.c. Well, it clearly has the vis pointer, so UI draw. So we can make that take a vis pointer. Oops. So UI draw is now going to take a vis pointer. Oops. Vis pointer vis. And then here we can just pass the vis. 340. Oops. Okay. UI terminal.c. 432. Not sure. We'll see if this is worth the effort or not. Uh, 515. There's only one of these, so we can delete that. 515. We can delete that. Do we have a vis pointer in here? No. That might be too much effort to delete the vis pointer. Oops. UI draw. Might just need to rebuild my version here. So okay, in UI to init. UI init. And then here need this. UI draw. This one might be easier to delete, to be honest. So TUI. Win to view to UI. It's a UI win, not a UI. Uh, There's like this struct window. Struct win. Struct a struct. Oops. Struct win. Yeah. Huh. It's a lot of effort. I don't know if I want to replace that. I have a feeling though that this is the only version of this pointer. Okay. Did it change anything here that was important? Yeah. So that's a lot of it for now. I want to do that right now. UI win. Oh, it has an extra space there. Window raw is not going to take this. Win UI. UI terminal.c, those should get ended. Okay, cool. That might be good enough for like a first pass. I'm not sure that I have anything else I can just, oops. I don't know if there's any more function pointers. I might have deleted all of them, which is good. There's some type depth function pointers here, but those are for like key bindings. There's no like this core.h. Struct mode. Okay, so these actually are needed. It's possible to write it a different way. I'm not sure yet, but basically this struct mode has a mode ID on it. So these functions probably point to different things depending on what this mode ID is. So I don't want to go messing with that just yet. To do merge types and use union to save space. I have no idea what that comment means. I'm gonna have to look at these, I think. Same with these ones. I'm not even sure where these are like being called. Yeah, so for now, I think though, that is good enough. Gonna be good enough for me for today. Let's see if we can find someone to show up in raid. He is still streaming. I don't want to raid him again. Um, Not sure if anyone is really doing anything interesting here. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything, so I think I'll just call it. Um, so thanks everyone who was here and watched. Um, Hopefully I'll come back another day, maybe to do some evening streams during the week after work. Otherwise, thank you all, and I will talk to you and see you later.